I'm coming to you live on tape from Sydney, Ohio. And today's movie is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It is the story of a man with an implant in his brain, carry information, but it's overloaded. And it is going to save the world. It is Johnny Mnemonic. It is horrible. We start with a screen scroll explaining the world. None of this is important unless you want to follow the plot. Then we go to Johnny in bed with a woman, and the woman leaves him to get ice, though they have ice. So he must have been a bad lay. Then he calls the man who gives him his next job, Ralphie, who's smoking. This movie is rated R for smoking. So there's really not that much smoking. I mean, I do more smoking in like a couple hours than this movie has smoking in it. Maybe that's why I have bad lungs. He tells Johnny there's a big score in Beijing. So Johnny goes to Beijing, and they tell Johnny, even after Johnny uses a double his brain capacity, that's 320 gigabytes. Now, Johnny only has 160 gigabytes, but he tells him it's okay. He's got more than enough. Now, they remind Johnny that overloading your brain can cause seepage and cause the information to be corrupted. But Johnny assures them that won't happen. So Johnny downloads the information, and then a bunch of guys come in and kill everybody, but Johnny gets away to Newark, New Jersey. Yes, this movie happens in New Jersey, home of... I can't think of anything that's important in New Jersey. I mean, Toxic Avenger lives there, and Swamp Thing lives there. But those are fictional characters. Nothing important actually lives in New Jersey. So Johnny's in New Jersey, and they're trying to cut off, and Ralphie, his contact, leads him to people who are trying to cut off his head. But the low-techs, the people fighting the corporations, and the Yakuza, who's working for the corporations, help him get away. And then he goes to Ralphie, who he threatens to shoot, but Ralphie's bodyguards take him out. And then the Yakuza, with Ralphie, threatens to cut off his head. But the bodyguard, who Ralphie told her he could not use her as a bodyguard, because Spider, who we will meet later, has her too jacked up, saves Johnny, and her and Johnny get away to the sewers. Now, I know this is sounding like a bad D&D campaign, but just wait, it gets worse. So Johnny calls Pharmacon, who he realizes stuff is in his head, and sets up a meeting. Now, he can't make this meeting because Jade, the bodyguard, goes into the shakes, the NAS shakes, the black shakes. And so they have to meet up with Spider, who can cure Jade. Spider says he can get the information out of Johnny's head and take him to Dr. Olcom, which was where the information was supposed to go. Spider takes them to this medical area filled with a bunch of people with black shakes and says Dr. Olcom is code they use. That's spelled ALLCOME for whenever there's a patient out of control, and they page Dr. Oakham to come there, which is really the crappiest writing I've ever heard. You could have spelled ALCOM or something like that to make it sound like, oh, it's actually code, not ALLCOME, like all come. So apparently this guy's just not a very good writer. The Spider goes to get the information out of his head and offers to drill it out, but Johnny will lose some fine motor skills. I think Johnny should have taken him up on this offer, because Johnny's performance up to this point was so damn wooden, you could have used him to build a house with. But then again, Dina Meyer's performance as Jade was about as equally bad. Spider is played by Henry Rollins, who actually is putting in a good performance. He is so far the best actor in the movie, but then we're introduced to Dolph Lundgren as the street preacher, who comes in and breaks up this little love fest between Spider, Jade, and Johnny. And he is actually almost unrecognizable in the film, because when I first watched this to do the review, I didn't even recognize it was Dolph Lundgren. Because he's speaking in an American accent. He's got a beard. He's got long hair. I didn't even recognize it was Dolph Lundgren. I read the synopsis on Wikipedia when I was trying to write the song, and they said it was Dolph Lundgren. And then when I watched it again, I recognized, hey, yes, that is Dolph Lundgren. But Dolph Lundgren is the best actor in this film, and when that is the case, you should burn the damn film. Anyways, Dolph Lundgren comes in, and Jade and Johnny escape, only for Henry Rollins to follow this street preacher. Jade and Johnny are sent to go meet up with Ice-T, who plays... I lost my train of thought with that little rant. Who plays the leader of the Low-Techs, whose name I don't remember. I think his name's J-Bone or something. It's really fucking weird. He's a hood named J-Bone, who's leader of the Low-Techs. Up in heaven, which is the Low-Techs headquarters, once again, this guy's not a great writer. And they drop a flaming Volkswagen onto Spider's van, which is one of the greatest scenes in movie history. So they meet up with J-Bone, and they go to meet Jones, which is this genetically modified dolphin. Actually, it is not genetically modified. It is cybernetically modified dolphin, meant to rip the cybernetics and computer stuff off subs. I'm not making this up. He is going to help Johnny get the stuff out of his head, which is the cure for the black shakes or NES. NAS, not NES. We could all use a cure for NES in the 80s, but that cure was Super NES. The cure for NES is more NES, and the cure for more NES is Super NES. And then Sega came along, which was the cure for complete NES. And it was Sega and Sonic the Hedgehog. That got you off NES. Anyways, we're getting off topic. The cure for NAS was what was in Johnny's head. So then the Yakuza arrived because Johnny called them and told them to meet them at this bridge. And a battle ensues with the head Yakuza guy who Johnny called, unknowingly called, getting shot by the leader of the Yakuza from China. And then Johnny fights him, and Johnny cuts off his head with his little laser whip thumb thing, and then throws him in the river below. And then the preacher comes by, and they use the cybernetically enhanced dolphin to fry his cybernetics, and then they electrocute him. And then Johnny gets the second image from the shot person, from the shot up Yakuza member from Newark, because they use random images off TV to lock the code into Johnny's head to unlock the code. Johnny had the first image. Now he's got the second image. So then Johnny has to hack his own brain through Jones, the cybernetically enhanced dolphin. And he manages to do this, and they sent the cure for NAS over all the networks, because these guys hacked all the networks out in the satellite dishes. And then the PharmaCon building is on fire there in Newark. But it's only like the top 3 floors that are on fire. So it makes you wonder if the people broke into PharmaCon and are just like, burn, executives, burn. Oh, we don't want to hurt the little man. We don't want to hurt the janitors. We just want to hurt the executive stuff. And fire burns up. So you want to light the bottom floors on fire, and that would burn all the floors. You don't want to light the top floors on fire, because that's just going to leave the rest of the building. But maybe they don't know this in the future. I mean, everybody has the internet, but maybe it's like our future, where everybody has the internet, but everything is hotly debated, because everyone thinks everything is a conspiracy. Fire is a conspiracy nowadays. People think fire isn't real. But I can assure you, fire is real. So that's the end of the movie. Johnny lives. Jay lives. They get the cure for the black shakes. Johnny actually gets part of his memory back from childhood, and he had to dump it to put the implant in. Oh, and Ralphie's dead because the Yakuza guy who he teamed with to try to cut off Johnny's head, the Yakuza guy killed him. Overall, this movie is horrible. It is one of the worst movies I have ever seen. I mean, Keanu Reeves' acting is horrible in it. The director told him to be wooden and to try not to show any emotion, and he does just that, and it makes his acting horrible. Dina Meyer, who plays Jade, acting is horrible in it. You can see why she didn't have that much of an acting career. She went on to do Starship Troopers, and she was decent in that. But maybe that's just because Paul Verhoeven knows how to make her act. Maybe he just used a cattle prod on her and went, act better, act better, act better, and just kept poking her with the cattle prod. Ice-T's good in it, but he's playing a thug. And Ice-T's always good if he's playing a thug or cop. Or he's doing commercials for Medicare. Or cookies. As I said, Dolph Lundgren is absolutely amazing in this movie. He's amazing. Henry Rollins is good in it. But overall, this movie's horrible. You should not watch it. As for the song, In a world of computers, the corporations rule. There's nobody on scooters, as the Yakuza enforces the rules. There's just one hope among them, the courier with the wet-wired brain. He can pass undetected while the countries go insane. Johnny Mnemonic. God, this movie sucks. Johnny Mnemonic. Whoever greenlit this piece of trash really fucked up. This movie is a travesty, so bad you can barely see past the wooden acting and stupid plot. Then maybe you can help me see why this movie was made in the first place. You would never believe most of these actors had acted before or since, or that any of them would go on to win awards. It's rated R for violence and smoking, but there really isn't that much violence or smoking. The only thing I'm thinking is the MPAA was thinking they didn't want this picture getting out. Johnny Mnemonic. God, this movie sucks. Johnny Mnemonic. Whoever greenlit this piece of shit really fucked up. This movie is a travesty, so bad you can barely see past the wooden acting and stupid plot. Then maybe you can help me see why this movie was ever made in the first place. This movie is lacking many qualities that would make it good, including not making iced tea from the hood. There's many other things they could change, like having Dina Meyer naked in the rain. Just having a woman naked would be nice, or at the end having Johnny lose his life. Johnny Mnemonic. God, this movie sucks. Johnny Mnemonic. Whoever greenlit this piece of shit really fucked up. This movie is a travesty, so bad you can barely see past the wooden acting and the stupid plot. Then maybe you can help me see why this movie was made in the first place. So join me next week as we look at the modern classic movie that changed America, Motorboat.